Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses. He is Jonathan Kinchin. I'm Andy Serling. I got Jonathans everywhere. I got you here. I got you up there. You're all over the place. How you
It's a
doing?
lot. I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. All's well. You know, the heat broke. It's a big weekend coming up. We got some great racing coming up, some competitive racing. Now we got to do is pick some winners.
If it felt like this for the entire meet, I would sign that contract right now.
Yes, I think all of us would, but I'm going to guess it probably, unfortunately, won't be like this every day. But it's great to be here all weekend. It's supposed to be a terrific weather weekend. Of course, Torpedo Anna, the biggest story, as the dominant. I mean, not just the dominant 3-year-old filly. I think it's arguable. While there's obviously some fast horses and older horses. She's probably the biggest name in racing right now. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would
I mean,
think
I don't
so.
know. I guess the Triple Crown horses, but she's.
Yeah, but it's exciting. I think for whatever reason, and I'm fine with it. When we have a really good filly, it's got a little bit more fun to it. Rachel Zenyatta, Songbird.
I want to ask you a question, and we do have a lot to talk about, but I'm curious. And by the way, it's giveaway day, and these are very popular. I'm going to move it because if Kinchin whacks me on the head with it, if I get out of line, there could be a problem here. So I'm going to keep it over here. But it's a great giveaway. It really is.
It
It's
is.
a sturdy thing. here.
Look, the line out there is intense.
This is, I could make fun of the giveaways, but this is a strong one.
Yeah.
I know that I was hypercritical of Songbird, and she was a very, very good horse. But one of my criticisms is she never faced any competition early. How do you think Songbird would have dealt with Torpedo Anna?
I don't think she would have liked her lapped on her outside, breathing down her neck all the way around there. You know what I mean? Like, Torpedo Ann is tactical, and I don't think Songbird really had to deal with that too much throughout her career. I mean, at the end, she dealt with it with Beholder, and she passed that test.
Yeah,
even
yeah,
though
she did.
She was beaten. Yeah, but at the same time, though, she's one of those horses that made her own trips because she was fast and forward.
But what we've seen from Torpedo Anna, I mean, look what she did to Dutch FYI, what she did to Ways and Means, and these are good horses, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you saw Ways and Means come back with a 104 buyer, an effort that was backed up by the performance of the runner-up earlier this week, and she made her look ordinary. And just FYI, okay, she's not as good as Torpedo Anna, but she made her look like she just destroyed her last time.
Twice.
Yeah,
Twice.
but
And the
I
Oaks,
mean,
too.
I mean, in the Oaks, just FYI had a very good trip, and I don't blame Belmont and Junior Alvarado for changing tactics. Like, we can't beat her with a perfect trip. We got to take it to her. Well, and that's why I think that you're not going to see anybody take it to her tomorrow because she's demoralizing, and that's the mark of a very good horse.
I'm not sure she's take-it-toable. You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
She not successfully.
Yeah,
what we've
I
seen.
don't think she is. So
Yeah. She's
I
got
think
that
Candy.
Rachel Alexandra. She's not obviously as good as Rachel, but she has that same quality of being able to
Yeah.
deal with quick paces and good horses and just make them look like claimers.
Completely agree.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, we're bettors. We like to bet, but we also like to see the exciting races. And we'll talk about that when we talk about the Curlin today. But we'll head over to Nirra Bets first before the real fireworks start up here. Spot 250, match of $250 of your initial deposit. That is, by the way, quite an A-team, Jonathan Leader said. I don't want you to miss.
Look at
I mean,
that.
that is quality up there. Quantity and quality. Spot 250 will match $250 of your initial deposit. Check out Track Stats when you're over there. Our man Matthew DeSantis he is working his butt off. I mean, the man's gets hundreds of people to go to a Twitter Spaces on Assiniboia Downs. Of course, he did have maybe the best handicapper at Nirra, Rob McLennan, works with us in the racing office, a man of many talents. He had him on earlier this week. Rob's going to blame me for that because I got him involved in that. Anyway, check out Track Stats. We have the Saturday contest. Now, Saturday contest is a $300 buy-in. You have until the third race tomorrow, all cash and seat prizes. You still have about an hour or so to sign up, a little more about the third race, to sign up for the feeder contest for $40. But that has to be played through Nirra Bets, so head over to NirraBets.com for more information on that. We have a $15 bonus, $75 each on Saratoga and Penn National. And if you want to know where Jonathan will be, he will be betting on Penn National tonight. He will be taking all his winnings from today and pouring them into Penn. You ever been?
No.
Yeah, see, you should have been in college with me. You could take the bus with me to Penn National.
I would have done it.
Do you know they're the original simulcast track? When I was a sophomore at Lehigh in the fall of '81, they started in-home betting. I had an account. It was like 50 cents a call, and I didn't have that much money, so it was a little.
So it's tough.
But you could watch. They had a
That's
simulcast
takeout.
show on the cable. You watch it.
That's
It
awesome.
was great. No, Penn National. All kidding aside, until they hired Dan Silver and everything just fell apart from there, they were on the cutting edge. I mean, they were one of the original simulcast tracks. They were the first betting the World Series of handicapping. That was a huge thing. They were the first. That was a big deal. I mean, all the big names played. Yeah, you would have been. Yeah, no.
I'd have
Yeah,
I'd have gone down.
you should look up the World Series of the Penn National thing. It was
I will. That sounds fun.
they were trailblazers, no doubt about it. I mean, then it all fell apart with silver. We have that pick 4 is coming up. 2, 4, and 7 on the pick 4s today on today's card. We have a cross country pick 5, I believe, is next. 3 at Saratoga, 2 at Monmouth. Book of Dano, I think in race 5 today, we'll be showing that actually on Saratoga Live. And speaking of Saratoga Live, 1 to 6:30 today with all of the action. Am I on with you later, or are you on
I'm early.
Okay, they're keeping us apart.
I've asked very nicely when I have talking horses to just let me work early. Like I don't want to come then leave and come. That's a lot. You know.
You don't have to leave. You know, I'll be staying.
I know.
You
But
know,
I like
you,
to.
you are. I don't want. You are a racing fan.
I
right?
will tell you this. I admittedly love an early shift so that I can go be a race tracker. It's the only downside of this is I don't get to be a race tracker as much at Saratoga. You know what I mean? So I like having the early so I can go hang out a little bit.
You know, I don't know what you mean.
You do.
Yeah,
You know what
exactly
I mean.
what you mean. All right, we got stuff to talk about here besides this nonsense. Race number 1. Let's take a look at Governor Sam. And by the way, you know, your friend Reagan, who owns him, who's now my best friend, he's going to be very excited when he sees who I pick second in the CCA Oaks tomorrow. I almost sent him a message. This horse, you know, dueled with a very good horse. And the horse who won this race and he dueled with came back and finished second at Royal Ascot. This horse is pretty good. I sent a message to Alex Bregman about this horse when I saw it. I think 8 seconds later, he sent me a message back, excited. This is a horse owned by the Bregman family, but also your buddy Reagan, my new best friend. I know this horse fell apart. This horse is going to take a lot of beating here.
Yeah, look, I mean, they obviously had high aspirations running on that Royal Palm J, trying to kind of do what they did last year with Crimson Advocate to get that free ride over there to Ascot. Handicapping purposes, this horse worked with Let It Ride, who's an 87 buyer type, and according to the workout report, outworked Let It Ride. It's
a movie.
Yeah, there was a movie, for sure.
You've heard of that movie?
Very good movie. I've seen that movie.
You really have?
Yeah, I
wow.
have seen
It's
that
a
movie.
first for
I have seen that
Jonathan.
movie.
He's seen a movie. It was about racing.
Yeah, I've seen that movie.
Have you ever seen The Killing? We discussed The Killing? The
No.
Stanley Kubrick movie about the racetrack robbery?
I don't think so.
Oh, that's a good one. You'd love that.
The Killing.
Oh, next time it's on TCM, I'll let you know.
Yeah, so I just thought Governor Sam, especially from the rail, IRAD, pop away from there, stay position all the way around there. It's going to take one of these first-time starters to the outside to be nice to beat him.
I'm not against him in any way. I took the 8 as the alternative. No evidence. We'll take a look at the 10 flat work. And, you know, I thought this horse was sort of ridden fairly hard in this work, but kind of really picked it up late. And I took this one as the alternative for Christophe Clement and Joel Rosario on the outside. And that horse going to take a lot of money as well. I think it's a nice matchup, at least between those two, if not some others. You got a Wesley Ward, first turn after taxes, but you got Graham Motion as well with test score. I feel like this might be a couple of nice 2-year-old turf horses, at least 2.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, these Vacomas are absolutely running. No evidence that this horse you're talking about, the 8 for Christophe Clement, worked with on the turf last time with Brindy, the horse that ran yesterday, the 10 horse that ran for Bridlewood and E5, the 10 horse.
This horse better be better.
Yeah, ran fine, but but they work together.
Well, does Bob Edwards ever win races with anybody but Chad Brown? Big races?
Hold on, there's an answer to that question.
By the way, the Mig told me he's going fishing with Bob. We should probably cover that on Fox.
I'm trying to go with Montauk.
Yeah. This horse, the Dam, was a pretty good turf sprinter. She was 3 for 16 with 6 seconds. There's plenty of pedigree. The second generation, the Dam, very strong. They feel like the main runners will take the money. That's race number 1. 5.5 on the Mellon. In case people don't know, all of the turf sprints are run on the Mellon, the outer turf course here at Saratoga. Race number 2. Race number 2, an interesting race. And you've got 2 Chad Brown horses. Isn't it funny that the 2 Chad Brown horses, it appears that Manny Franco is on the better one than Irad Ortiz, and you have got Dia Matrona, who I have second on top.
Yeah, this is a pretty simple one. One of the things I like to do on Timeform US is their charts are kind of fun, too. You can click on that chart and then look to see what other horses have done out of that. Of the 4 horses that exited that race at Monmouth, on average, 10 points faster in their next start. So if you do that math and you think this horse will go 10 points faster, you can run a 107 Timeform US, absolutely will win this race.
Yeah, Mom and June came back and finished second. I want to say, was it tax implications in that stake down at down in Monmouth? And I agree, the buyer figures came back 7 points higher in both the first and second horses. So, and this horse was second to tax in the stake. I have no argument against this horse. I will say one thing, and I forgot. I don't know why I didn't send this stat in. I must have missed it when I was going through the races. I have another stat for Chad Brown, so I won't beat him up with 2 stats. And I often say these first time for the tag stats, and this applies to both the 8 and 9. The negative stat is almost a positive stat for a trainer. It says they're dropping horses that maybe they aren't that good. And overall, first time for a tag, non-maiden, so you get rid of that maiden special to maiden claimer. In turf routes, Chad's just 7 for 30 with a $1.25 ROI. So while 23% is pretty good, at Saratoga, where you think he may do it to try to win races and stuff, he's 2 for 13, 15%, 8 hitting the board, and 91% ROI. And that scared me a little bit. Feels like, I mean, he's not wrong to drop her. Where is she going? She's not winning a non-winner, it's a 1.
No.
Right, so it's a reasonable drop. They haven't done that well. As far as from below, we'll take a look at her race 2 back. And I thought she ran extremely well in this race. And I thought if she could run back to this race in a mile and a 16th, she'd be very dangerous. You know, she was just in bad position and seemingly unhappy the entire way around the track last time, sort of buried down on the inside. It seemed like, oddly, she did better when Dylan rode her, and he was more aggressive in this race and more forward. And while the favorite had trouble there, I thought she ran well enough to be competitive here. And given, you know, a little more low-profile connections with Bruce Brown, who's a good trainer, I thought she'd be a better price. So I ended up putting her on top in here. And I'm hoping that Dylan is a little more aggressive the way he was 2 back.
Yeah, my note says 2 back was nice and can absolutely win this race. It was 66-1 that day. There's been a winner out of there. Yeah, I've got no problem. I used this horse kind of like a B horse in the pick 5. I wasn't completely against. I just thought the 4 and the 8 were much the best.
I worry about the 4 being slow. The 4 is a bit of a plotter. That worried me with her.
Definitely doesn't break well.
Yeah, she just doesn't, you know, and it doesn't seem like there's a lot of speed. And I'll tell you something. I know Magic 8 Ball beat a weak field of maidens last time, but she actually ran extremely well to do it. And she was forcing a pace that was quick, and she just kept on running. And I'm not sure she couldn't take a little step forward and get a piece in this race.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think they would probably try to be aggressive and try to keep that inside position. I just worry from a pace figure standpoint, is she fast enough to actually take advantage
maybe?
of that? Yeah.
No, she's got to get better. And listen, Tom Morley's horse has been running very well. That New York bred of his is very good, the Big Torpedo. He really
And I said it on the show yesterday, I'll say it again. I thought Eric did an outstanding job. He doesn't ride 1 to 2 shots like that all the time. And to ride that horse with as much confidence as he did, I thought was a great ride by him.
I actually talked to Eric a little bit earlier and ran into him, and he was giving me a hard time saying, I deserve a hard time from Eric, because I give him a hard time. And he said, keep giving me a hard time, you're motivating me. And I said, you know, I know the horse is a heavy favorite, but that was really the right ride. I think he's ridden well. That Weaver horse, I said the 5.5 furlong Weaver got beaten, was the horse that ran second here last week. He sent the lead in there. There wasn't a ton of pace in there, and he did a good job taking advantage. Didn't work out, but he got beaten ahead. He ran very well, and I thought it was a really good ride by him. We'll see what happens. In race 2, race number 3 is the Curlin, and there's a lot of, I think, a little more interest in the Curlin this year than normal, because there's some good horses in here. And, you know, not just the heavy favorite Unmatched Wisdom, because Timeout and even Corporate Power deserve a lot of mention as well. But let's start with Unmatched Wisdom. We'll show the last race, a horse you and I are excited about him, but I don't think he's facing a bunch of tomato cans in here. I think he's facing a couple of 3-year-olds that have every right to be players in this division going forward.
Yeah, just for me, I hate those he could have done better, could have run faster things. I think it's a dangerous game to play. I feel like this horse, if he would have got tested, would have run faster.
I'm not sure that I felt like the buyer figure could have been higher in here. I had some discussions with other people about it. Timeform US actually had this race 2 points faster than the maiden win, so a better race. And he's the controlling speed in this race. Apparently, from DRF workout reports, had a rare A- workout, which you almost never see.
Yeah, they don't get those very often.
And this is a horse that Chad Brown said to me after he broke his maiden, and listen, trainers get high on horses, but I've talked about a lot with Chad Brown, and and he's got a very good horse in Sierra Leone who he's very high on, and he said that I think this could be a Travers horse when he broke his maiden. And I was sort of expecting him to give me the old, well, I'll find him, a non-winner's a 1, if I'm late, maybe I'll get him, and we can get him ready for later in the season. And to be that high on this horse, he's got to go out and deliver, but he has the potential to be a player in the Travers going forward.
I will say this, I hate the draw for him. I wish he was
Really?
outside. Yeah.
Oh, I love the draw.
I just feel like someone else is going to try to get cute, and he's not going to. I think Flavian's going to have to. He's going to have to.
So much faster.
I know he's going to have to navigate some stuff. I think he's good enough to handle it, but he's going to have to. I feel like he'll have to navigate something.
I want the rail with speed horses at 1.125 miles on this track because you will have a huge advantage going that first turn. I don't want, I get what you're saying. He's not going to be outside of somebody. I don't know who's going to run with him. I don't think it's going to be this horse, Corporate Power, and I thought he ran well, and that came up a very fast race. We saw Gould's Gold come back and run respectably, run second. Was the Ohio Derby he ran second? He ran 3 wire points faster. Now, he was on a slow pace that day that held together, but this is a good race he comes out of, and this horse is okay.
Yeah, look, he ran a 1:11 time form US compared to Unmatched Wisdom's 1:18. I feel like I know who Corporate Power is. He's had 4 starts. I felt like his last race, he did everything he had to do to win. He was a little goofy in the stretch. I just feel like Unmatched Wisdom has another step forward, and if he takes that step forward, I just feel like he's too fast for Corporate Power.
Well, to play devil's advocate, he's a 4-time race 3-year-old for Shug McGay, who's probably has one of the best records of improving horses, along with Bill Mott, as they get better over time. So why can't he take it? I mean, he's got to get better to beat Unmatched Wisdom, but I don't see any reason he can't take another step forward.
Well, he definitely can. He's the only other horse that I would use, and I would not use him the same as I use Unmatched Wisdom.
No.
I don't need timeout.
You got him second, though.
Yeah.
We'll take a look.
Oh, it's supposed to be 2-4, but that's my fault. Timeout's fine, right? But I just don't think timeout's going to take a huge step forward, in my opinion.
Am I correct in saying that he outworked Arthur's Ride recently?
I don't know if it was an
David
outwork. They
Aragona
worked
told
together.
me he outworked him. David told me he outworked him fairly well, actually. And Arthur's Ride is going to take a lot of money in the Whitney, I'm guessing, off of his incredibly fast performance here on Belmont Stakes Racing Weekend. I'm not sure I agree with you. I think this horse could be potentially very good. I think he is the biggest threat because I see a lot of upside for him.
Well, they're all. I mean, look, I think they're all. Well, not they're all. A couple of them, the 2, the 4,
You're not a
even
big
Elephant's
fan
Ear, maybe a little bit interesting.
Ran a big fig last time.
If
50 to 1.
Unmatched Wisdom doesn't show up. But this is one of those races, and you can't say this about every race. If Unmatched Wisdom shows up, Unmatched Wisdom wins.
I don't disagree with that, but they
don't all
you got to
the
be
time.
careful. You got to be careful.
They don't
And
all the
I'm
time.
obviously hoping he does well, and I like him like you. But I don't think he's running against a bunch of slouches. I think he's running. These are talented horses in here, and I think both the 2 and 4. And 2's already a stakes winner, and I think Timeout will have stakes in his future for Bill Mott. It's a good one. It's the Curlin. 2 Curlins, actually, the 2 and 4 as well in the Curlin. Race number 4, speaking of 1.1 mile, we'll have back-to-back 1.1 mile dirt races here to compare those times, which I like. A big scratch in here with Rocco Strong not coming back 8 days after being claimed. And talk about Command Performance, who I agree with you is the horse to beat.
I kind of like the blinkers on move, for a kind of pluggy, plotty type horse who I think is definitely the class horse in here.
He is a plotty type. I agree with you.
And time form US, one of the things I like to do, especially with claiming races with horses coming from different places, they have that race rating thing. I don't think it's like the Bible or anything, but I look at it as a way to understand how good some of the different claiming races or allowance races were at different places. And Command Performance has a pretty big edge in his last 3 starts
he
from
was
a
running
class
against
standpoint.
horses way better than these. I worry a little bit about the significant drop. Obviously, Joe Sharp's trying to win races here, but he is. I mean, this is his second time in for a tag, and he's plummeting, and he probably deserves to because he wasn't competitive in that race. But I agree, they were far superior horses to these. The fact that he's so slow scares me a little bit with him. That's my biggest concern. And I'm curious what you think, and you've got him third and I've got him fourth with Skylander. I don't love Skylander going the 1.1 mile. But he ran against much better horses when he went 1.1 mile here last year. And from a speed figure standpoint, he kind of ran his number. And off the claim last time, good trip or not, he ran. And if he's able to run back to this race, I think you'll agree with me. He's a real contender here.
And I think he might. I like Skylander basically because for the last 2 starts, Orlando Notice tried to sneak him in main track only in 1Xs.
Who does he think he is, Linda Rice?
Yeah, exactly. Try to sneak him in, which means they were trying to protect. And I think finally just got to a point where, like, hey, we got to run the horse. Let's run him where we can win.
They want him for 12.5. If he gets claimed for 32 and does well here, then that's
so
playing
to
the
me, it's a
game.
positive sign that he's in here.
Yeah. You've got First Glimpse second in here. I worry about the post with him.
Yeah, he was just like a numbers play for me. He fit on numbers. He ran well enough for 40. He was claimed for 32. He's run well for different barns. I like horses that are in the claiming ranks that run well for different barns I don't like it when they just have one performance for someone.
I like that. I agree with that.
You know, so
I
yeah.
took 6%, and he's sort of my other play for David Jacobson, who I rarely get right. He is second off the claim. He ran against, Amundsen, who's refound his form last time going 7. He has run effectively, going a mile and 1/8 in the past. He's run well at Saratoga. I thought at least he could be a little bit closer than some of the others. I mean, his speed appears to be optic way. I have trouble making him win the race, and I think you'll see co-conspirator sort of behind him. I didn't think it was good enough, and I'm hoping that Ramon Vasquez gets 6% in good position, and I thought he could be the most forward of the contenders. I do not love him by any stretch of the imagination. To me, he was the alternative to the 8, and I just didn't want to pick him on top.
I thought this was the toughest race in the early pick 5, without a doubt.
Yeah, this is because the problem with Command Performance is the drop down, and he's a bit of a plotter,
He feels like one of those annoying horses that I think we called it last time. We talked about Irad having like one of those annoying trips where you just know, oh, it was me and Maggie when you were off talking horses. And I said, Irad's one of those horses you want to try to beat him in this spot, but he's going to probably come rolling down the middle of the track and beat you as the 5-2 favorite. It's going to be very annoying. Command Performance feels like that to me. We can think of a bunch of creative ideas, but he's
what's funny about
annoyingly
him?
gonna win.
I bet him in the future pool for the Derby.
Did you?
Well, he's that horse as a
Yes.
maiden that ran extremely well in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile that finished 4th.
Yes.
And it just took forever to break his maiden, and
Yeah.
it just didn't pan out. It's
Yeah.
a tough game, but he was very good as a 2-year-old. It just didn't work out. Race number 5, and we'll take a break after race number 5. Mile 16th in the turf. I have got to pick, and we'll switch to race number 5, guys. How are you doing, guys? Everybody all right? There we go. I cannot pick Positive Carry on top. And we'll take a look at Positive Carry 2 starts ago, finishing second. I'll show you a Chad Brown stat that's not that encouraging. I am just sick of this horse.
Yeah, I am too, against maiden special weight types. This just feels like I think Chad does a couple of things with horses he drops. I think he drops. I don't think he ever drops a horse he's trying to keep. I think that every time he drops a horse, he wants them to. That horse is for sale. Now, I think there's
Can you
times he
blame
thinks
them?
it's going to win, and then there's times where he feels like he just moves.
And Michael Dubb wants to win race in Saratoga, and he's always in the fight for the owner's title. But I got a stat for Chad. They're hitting the board fairly well, but even that, it's not a little over 50%. So it's no better than his general in the money percentage, and they're just underachievers. He's 4 for 16 in Saratoga with a $1.37 ROI. What?
It's funny about that. That's not a lot of horses.
By the way,
47. You know what I'm saying? For 5 years.
we need a new picture. He looks like he just got out of high school in that picture here, right? I got a new picture for Chad.
It's
here.
just that 47 stands out to me. It's just not something that he does very much because he
Yeah.
doesn't have a lot of.
It's 9 to 10 times a year.
Yeah, doesn't have a lot of maiden claiming types.
And she can certainly win this race. I am just sick and tired. Just to me, she's lost at 6-5, 8-5, 7-5, 6-5 in her last 4 starts. It's just enough with her, and I don't think she's running in that tough races. Now, the problem is sort of where do you go logically? Yeah, the 2 day away got some crazy rides in Florida, but she's hard to make. Capodonna cutting back a little in distance. I don't know. She's just not
Doesn't she
that
move longer?
good. I looked at her. I got her 4th. You have her 3rd. Redo. John Ortiz won with a maiden claim up here last year, but that was a very sneaky horse he was setting up. This horse has had a lot of chances, but I will say in the last turf race, this horse got a horrifically bad ride 2 races back. But still, where is the good race in there? So as far as Tony Dutrow, and I'm going to say my friend David Argona kind of sold me a little on this horse in here. I just thought this horse that has, now, to be fair, this horse has the pedigree to be running in the Smithwick on Saturday. There's jumpers in this horse's pedigree. But, ran an open race down in Florida. Tony's been trying to get this horse in. I'm going to take a bit of a stab here with this horse. You've obviously got her second, so you see some things to like as well.
Yeah, looking at the entries, this horse was March 10th vet scratch at Gulfstream, April 20th vet scratch at Aqueduct, and then May 18th a vet scratch. So to me, the horse probably has some sort of minor situation that the vets don't like. So part ways.
She's running today, and I just think she's the lone sort of, she may be terrible and not get anything in here. I wished I could have found somebody else. I just had to go in that different direction because I can't find anybody else in the early one. You could take Not Guilty for Cherie DeVoe trying the turf, but I don't know. There's a little bit of turf pedigree, right?
Yeah.
There is some turf pedigree, to be
Cherie's
fair.
one of those, there's a handful of trainers when they make a move like that, I trust that there's something that makes them feel like that's going to go well.
And maybe she's just sort of saying, I know he's never in the turf. He's a maiden claiming race. She's not that good, and I'm not going to run her maiden special. I'll try to get her into a race she can win, and certainly she's having a terrific meet and is dangerous. That's the first 5. Late pick 5 after a quick break.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Jonathan Kinchin and Andy Serling. As we kick off race number 6, we'll take a look at the most experienced member, who Jonathan has on top, that I'll be playing against, the Toner. And, I mean, I just felt, Jonathan, you've got this horse on top. I just thought there would be somebody better in here, somebody or buddies better.
Look, I think this is an impossible race, but I will say this. I paid attention to this horse because it's the nickname of my dog, the Toner. And I noticed as I do these lanes in videos, and I've noticed that.
This is a dog name?
No. Seriously, I did these videos for 2 horses, like lanes in legacy horses, Austin Cruz and Conquering Cat, and I saw the Toner get beat both times. Like, this horse is unlucky to have run into nice horses. I just think that he's been running against good horses. He's unlucky to have not broken his maiden yet.
You know, I'm not going to. He's got experience. He's got speed. I'm not going to be surprised if he wins this race. I just looked at this field and I thought, you know, he's a New York bred. He's running with New York breds the first time. I just think there's dangerous players near. Bruce Levine has clearly come to Saratoga ready this meet. And he won with the first who made the big run. And I like the practical jokes. I didn't see the workouts, but this horse shows good workouts. And you got a couple of decent runners from the dam, a couple of mediocres, but a couple of decent runners. And this was really sort of like Bruce Levine. I saw the work, and I'm a big fan of Bruce's, and so I put this one on top over the number 10 Rocked Out. I'm also a big fan of Horacio De Paz, and he seems to have some firsters that could run, and I kind of wanted this one more than the other one, but the other one had a little more turf in there, and I put him 1-2 of these horses, first-time starters, over a couple horses that ran.
Yep, I like Bruce Levine as well. He does really well with dirt 2-year-old firsters, and I thought this horse was live. And I love the 3 furlong work last. I think to me, when you have a first-time starter and you work them 3 furlongs at the end, you're telling me the horse is fit. You're not trying to cram for the test and trying to get one more last work in him. The 2 Chasing Colton, I have second, just for the same reason I think this horse is going to be extremely overbet. This horse ran second to the Sanford winner.
But a city block behind him.
Right, but if he wasn't in there, if Moplex wasn't in there, he wins that race. So I think he's got a little bit of talent.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You know, listen, I've got the horse third, so I obviously don't. I don't want to be too hard on Moplex. He got a 73 buyer winning the Sanford. So, you know, we'll see how good he ultimately turns out to be. I think he's going to have to get faster. The good news is it's his second start as a 2-year-old. Sarah Warrior will probably take a lot of money, and the reason David has the horse short in the line is this horse is a My Racehorse horse, and those horses take a lot of money. I didn't see much pedigree to speak on a horse that sold as a weanling for $70,000.
Yeah, and I don't think that Danny is one of those types that's like cranking him up all the time first time out. And then, you know, I think he said that in an interview maybe about a horse that won. He had a firster recently that won. And
well, Complexion was cranked up.
Yeah, Complexion he talked about. That's what it was, where he said that, you know, he didn't really think Complexion was going to win first out. But Johnny had told him that, no, we're going to win, so. I don't think he's like out here cranking horses to win first time out. That's all.
Okay. Race number 7. I think you and I agree on race number 7. A big scratch with Super Chief coming out of this race. And obviously you're going to see some pace from Chateau on the inside. It was very unreliable. And like you, I went to the significant drop down for Linda Rice. She wins with these drop downs. I don't love them, but I like this horse getting back to a fast track, and this drop down, I just am not going to try to beat this horse, Jonathan.
No, and should get everything that she needs, right? Or he needs, excuse me. Should get a lot of pace to close into. There's a lot of pace in here. And it's like one-way speed type. Like Chateau is going. 100% going.
Absolutely.
So it should play right into his hands. I don't have a lot to add there. I mean, I'm going to use the other two speed horses, the 1 and the 8. Critical Threat. I thought ran well. Should appreciate the cutback.
We'll take a look at Critical Threat's last race while you're talking. Go ahead.
And then Critical Threat. I thought ran well, and he's got those pace figures that suggest a cutback should help. He's drawn outside of the main speeds in here, and look, a lot of times these races look like they're going to be extremely fast on paper, and they don't always materialize, or the speed of the speed wins. And I'm not going to get beat by these two horses, the 1 and the 8. And the 1, Chateau, do you feel like horse maybe needed that race and is the type of horse that's going to kind of, the way that he runs, he's going to potentially run better here than he did last time? Or are you not buying it?
I'm not a fan of this horse because he has as much quit in him as any horse I've ever seen. Having said that, he had run well in his prior start and lost to Amundsen, would beat these, but it felt like it's not like that pace fell apart, and the horses that beat him were right on top of the pace, and they didn't look particularly good on paper. So I thought it was an unusually bad performance, and coming back so quickly and dropping, it's like Rudy's begging somebody to take him off his hands. I'm not going to be shocked if he runs okay. I've got him 4th, you have him 3rd, but I just don't really trust him. I thought Lafitte's Fleet wasn't impossible dropping down for Rick Dutrow. I don't like, and I've got him 3rd, the drop with Critical Threat. Jimmy Riccio, a very sharp owner, been very successful over the years. Horse wins for 25 the claim. Now they're in for 12.5. And the other thing is, he's going to have to deal with another significant speed in Chateau. So whether you like him or not, he's tough to run with. Even though the horse that ran with him last time did finish 1-2 in there.
The only reason I put him in 4th, and I agree. I mean, he's got some back races in Dutrow and Irad. He was claimed for 16 in March.
Yep.
And then at Belmont Stakes Festival up here, he was entered for 32, vet scratch, now is in for 12.5. That
there are red flags on him, I agree. And listen, there should be red flags in Emerald Forest. Linda does very well with these kind of drop downs, so I put it on top. Not my cup of tea at a short price, but not a horse I wanted to play against in here. I think the 8th race is a really, really interesting race because there's a couple of schools of thought in here, and you've taken a more optimistic approach to Sam's Treasure and Roswell coming out of the race against Money's Gold. And I respect that. Money's Gold drew very well in the Honorable Miss. That Honorable Miss is an excellent race on Wednesday's card. That race came up super, super tough. I will say that I am saddened that my favorite horse that was racing, Alva Star, unfortunately had that injury, and we lost her, and I was we really feel for the connections of her. She was a wonderful horse. She's not in there. It came up a good race, but I'll be watching that race and thinking of Alva Star, one of my favorites. But I'm not sure about that race. I mean, because one of the things that I found odd was, where did it come from for Roswell? Where did that 95 come from? And how much do you trust her to run it back? If she runs it back, she's going to win here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't trust her. Look, I have 4 horses in that order: 4, 2, 7, 9. Late pick 5. I'm going to consider this a lockup race where I'm just going to use these 4 horses.
I think you're leaving a horse out that can win. I think you're leaving Jenna Antonucci out that can win. I don't. Well, we'll get to Princess Madison. I'm not against the 4 and 7. I made a decision to put them behind other horses in here. If you're like you're using a spread to stay alive, I totally get using them. They can absolutely win. I want to see it to believe it. I'm just not sure. Sam's Treasure. I liked Sam Treasure's last time, and a lot of those figures were earlier in her career, but still, I don't know that I trust her to run that kind of number again. I don't know if I trust Roswell to do it. Now, I'm not sure what to do with Wailua because it wasn't necessarily that good a field, but this race has to be seen to be believed. And you can make the argument that she earned a figure in the low 90s. I mean, I think a lot of times when we'll roll that race, people make too much about breaks. A horse will break a length and a half slow and sort of slowly drop back. She didn't. She broke 3 lengths behind the field, 4 lengths. And the other thing is, when they settle in here, what is she behind? 6 lengths behind? They went 21 and 4. Now, there's a big run-up, so that's like a 22 and 1 at a lot of places. So maybe at Saratoga, she only did run a 21 first quarter. But, I mean, that this horse makes the lead and 21 and 4 after what happened to start is scary. Now, the other thing that's scary is she got left like that, she could get left again. And if she gets left again, she's getting nothing in here because she's not pulling those shenanigans against this field. But if she doesn't get left, they're going to have a tough time keeping up with her early.
Yeah, just think about it. I mean, think about those fractions being swift.
And she won.
Yeah,
She
ran.
won.
She ran
And
huge.
still ran a 77 buyer, and she legitimately gave 4 to 5 lengths. And then when you think about the energy she had to expand in that first quarter, you could say this could have been a 98 to 100 type performance, couldn't you?
She ran huge, absolutely huge.
I mean, this was horses like this never win ever.
No, they usually get tired here and lose
Right.
to the inside horse.
This was a remarkable. Now, maybe it was just a weaker field. She needs to get out of the gate. She gets left again. 0 chance in here. But I couldn't get past this. Now, we'll show right away Princess Madison's race that you mentioned. She ran on the same day as Walua, okay? And she ran 4/5 of a second faster. But for my money, I'll take Walua out of that race. I don't know, man. I want to see it to believe it. To be fair, the horse that ran second came back with an 85 buyer. Now, the third place finisher, a first who ran a 68, ran a 54 buyer. I prefer Wailua. I'm against this horse, but she did draw well.
I think Phil Bauer is an outstanding horse trainer.
Yes, he is.
I think that he would probably be talked about a little bit more if he didn't have a private stable where, like, he was getting other horses for other people. I think he would have probably a couple of other big owners. I'm sure he loves this
You don't think
situation.
it's a lack of hair that they don't talk about him?
I think
Just
that
part of the
bald
man
is
who's
back.
got-
I got to be honest with you, Andy.
You thinking of doing that? You thinking of shaving your head?
No.
Would you have to change your Twitter feed? I have a question for your Twitter feed. What
Yep.
is the UT big hair? What is UT?
University of Texas.
Oh, University.
It was like my
I
online,
got
like
it
when I
as
was
said
in
it.
college.
I got it.
UT Big Hair was my screen name.
I always think when I put it in, when I do it, and as soon as I asked you, I realized it was University of Texas. So, thinking there. I think you're missing something with the one. You take the one apart, and she becomes more interesting. First of all, we'll see how much speed there is in this race. Pace Projector has favoring speed. I'm not sure. I guess a lot depends on what Wailua does early in here. But she chased the pace in the Ways and Means race. We saw how well the second place finisher ran in her subsequent race, right? She's in the 8 bells. She didn't really run that badly in the 8 bells, and she did have a little bit of a trip in there. And what I liked about her was she never really stopped running. She was overmatched, but she kept on running. Then she's in the Gulfstream Oaks, where she had a wide trip, and I don't know that she wants to go that far. I love the turn back for her. I think she's a very interesting horse. I thought about putting her on top. I put her second.
The only reason there's a couple reasons why I passed. One, she worked on the turf 3 back and was entered in the Coronation Cup and scratched. So I felt like they were trying to get her on the grass.
And the workouts recently, though.
She ran a 76 buyer. Wailua ran a 77 buyer with that trouble. The 2 is supposed to improve her number, and plus I think there's other 3 horses that are better than her. That's the
They're
only
faster.
reason I
like the less distance for her. I think
Yeah.
she's an interesting fuzzy. See, I'm gonna bet against Phil Bauer in here, and I might be doing it at my to my detriment because she certainly could win, and I'm going to use her as well. Interesting race number 8, and I think it'll be interesting to see the horses that ran against Money's Gold. How well do they run? As Money's Gold's going to be, I don't know the favorite. She could be. I mean, she's good. The thing that worries me with Money's Gold, she's run well without Lasix, but she's run better with it.
Yeah, she's a cool
But
horse.
she ran well when she lost to Red Carpet Ready.
Yeah.
I'm sorry she's not in that race, actually. So race number 9, I think the story of race number 9 is Chad Brown, but also pace. And we'll start out with a very, very painful loss for me with Root Cause, because I made a nice bet on her this day at 19 to 1, and this was painful. Trevor beat her with a very good ride on 30 Thou Kelvin. She ran well, and this is a horse she caught it wasn't a yielding course last time. It was a bog. So I won't forgive her. And she had a preposterous trip 3 races back. I think Root Cause is a very good horse that has been compromised by trip. But isn't she going to be compromised by trip again here, Jonathan?
Yeah, but I just don't think there's anyone who's going to be able to really, really, really take advantage.
What about Vino Rouge?
Yeah, I mean, tactical, but, she still doesn't. She's never made the lead in a
Isn't
race.
Johnny going to go today, though?
I think he'll be forward, but I don't think she
Really?
has enough speed to put Root Cause in a bad situation. I
Okay,
think one of the
we
most
disagree.
underrated things that get passed over in turf racing in this country is the different turf courses, like like you mentioned, running in a bog. We're so conditioned as handicappers to just look at the last race, look at the second to last race, look at the third race, and then try to make a decision. And I don't even count the last race. That's not what she wants to do, is run on soft ground.
That was a pretty good field.
Yeah,
Nisi's pretty good.
if she runs her 2-back race, I think she wins this race.
She's going to be tough. Listen. I'm rooting for a big day for my man Tony Dutrow as we look at Vino Rouge, and no question Vino Rouge was taking advantage of that quick pace last time. But she's running good race against good horses. No show Sammy Joe would certainly be probably the horse to beat in this race. She's running against good horses, and I disagree. I think she has a significant tactical advantage on Root Cause here. And Chad Brown has those good numbers off of layoffs, but they're not so outstanding. Though at Saratoga, for what it's worth, at 6 to 12-month layoffs turf routes, he's 12 for 49, 27 hitting the board with a 212 ROI. That's oversubscribed, winning here. Root Cause getting second, and she was picking up pieces in a fast-paced race, but still. She run a good race the time before that, and I think she's got some quality, so I prefer her with a little bit more of a pace advantage. What about Child of the Moon, the horse that we both have third, the unknown for Chad Brown?
Guessing. Aren't you? Didn't work. I was hoping the horse worked on the turf so I could get some sort of a clue of who Chad worked the horse with, but worked on the dirt. But I will say this. These private purchases that Michael Dove and Matakid and he brings in Louis Lazanero, who's a friend. The horse has to have some sort of ability. I'm literally just guessing. I have no clue. The Timeform US figure wasn't overly quick to make me. I'm
gets LASIK.
100% a guess.
Foreign shippers, turf routes, 250-plus day layoffs. Chad Brown with LASIK is 8 for 20, 12 hitting the board, $1.80 ROI. They run. I worry though with this horse. I wonder how much speed that she's going to have. They often don't have speed, but I'm not going to be shocked when she's the total wild card in here.
Sometimes you can get clues with these types of horses, right? They can have a really fast time from US number or be running in big races over there or have a turf work where he worked this horse with one of his other grade 1 type turf. There's no clues. I have no clues.
He has grade 1 turf horses?
He's got a few.
When More Mango got beaten ahead at 48 to 1, I had picked a couple of long shots that won that day. It was a random day. I was going to pick her on top. I spent a lot of time thinking, I said, I just can't put this horse on top. And I bet a very small amount on her. I was texting with David Aragona. I went home early. And I said, I bet a couple dollars on More Mango in here. And I'm like, I don't know if I wanted to win or not. It was so gross. And it turned out I bet some doubles with her, and I finished second in the last race. And I was thinking, God, if I was alive for a score, I would have just thrown up. It was a Clement horse, and Irad gave some great ride from post 12 to beat him. It's funny. You and I are on the same page the last race with geopolitics. I was having a bit of an argument with David Aragona about this horse because I think every time I think he's nuts on a line, he's right and I'm wrong. So, that's firmly established. When I'm right, it's the 1 out of 10 or 15 times I'm right, and he's right all the others. I think he's nuts making this horse 5 to 2. Yes, this horse was on a gold rail last time. I guess the big disagreement David and I had was he said, I don't think I would like Being Betty in here. And Being Betty did have an outside trip, and the rail was good here, and the first 2 finishers rode the rail. But I disagree. I said I would like Being Betty in this field. I didn't really love anybody in here. She's a bit of a money burner, geopolitics, and his point was he thinks that figure 2 back, which she's going to take money off that, a dirt figure, could be a little on the high side. Where are you? Do you think she's going to be anywhere near 5 to 2?
No, I think she's going to be shorter.
I think she'd be 6 to 5 or 7 to 5 in here.
I love this horse.
Really?
Yeah, love.
Now David is very confident.
No, I think as a non-odds-on horse of the meet, I like this horse more than any other horse I've liked not odds on.
And also the fact that the 13 doesn't get in helps her. She has burned money, which I don't like. I don't like her as much as you. But I think she's way the horse to beat.
Well, the thing about it, too, is the cutback from 6 to 5.5, I think is going to be huge for her. I also think that Joel, I don't know what he was thinking, what the instructions were, and I don't know what he felt. But I tell you what it looked like. He was maybe a little bit concerned she was going to be able to get the distance at that point or something. He was so
He lost a brutal bob.
Yeah, but he was...
The horse got a perfect trip under
He waited to the last possible second to ask her. And I don't know I don't know what the reason for that was. I feel like he'll be more aggressive going the 5.5, and I think if he does that, she is going to be tough to beat.
He's a cool customer, my man Joel. Heart of the Night is fine. The horse we have second. I thought she got that better form back for Horacio Paz, something she had lost in California. We'll take a look at her last time. And she rayed a little bit in here and ran well, which is a feather in her cap. And I always give the Horacio horses another look. I think Horacio is a sensational trainer. He just doesn't have the big horses to get the kind of attention he deserves. But I am a huge fan of him as a trainer. I think he's great.
No, I completely agree. I thought this horse ran well for Michael McCarthy. I'm not usually cutting in line to take horses moving away from Michael McCarthy's barn, but I agree. Horatio does a great job. And sometimes when you see that, a trainer change from a prominent barn or a good barn, the foundation is there for the horse to go on to somewhere else and do well.
He had
right?
just he'd gone the
best
wrong way
attention.
for Whitey,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And also the fact is strictly taboo. I don't think either. I know I didn't like her last time. I don't know what you felt. She got all that money, and she won for fun. So maybe that race a little better than it looks. Or maybe the Clement horse has just improved second time out. I think Stars in the City is my wise guy horse in here, cutting back for Linda. You know, I know that Artemis Girl was a 50-1 shot that beat her, but you know, this horse ran figures a 2-year-old, and I thought she was a little interesting turning back for Linda. She's my wise guy to use in this race.
Yeah.
But you won't be using anybody. You're all in on geopolitics.
Ice cold.
All in.
My bankroll bet today is going to be doubles into her, and yeah.
My bankroll. I'm getting close. I lost three $50 bets yesterday. I've
Did
not
you?
had a winning bet. Jonathan had a winning bankroll bet. To be fair to Jonathan, he should be in a positive territory. There was this screw up in getting it up there. So in my opinion, I kind of feel like I have to make up a lot of ground to beat Jonathan. We'll both go broke. It's a question of when. But it's
That's all right.
I don't know. I like to get some winners occasionally. Anyway, Jonathan, thank you so much. Jonathan will be on early. I will be on late. Head over to Nirra Bets. If you're not a member of Nirra Bets, use the promo code SPA250, and we'll match with $250 of your initial deposit. Play any track, anywhere, anytime. Play through Nirra Bets. Check out track stats to get a chance to get over to Nirra Bets. We have a little different order today. Saratoga Saturday contest. You have about an hour or so, an hour and a half to sign up for the $40 feed-in today, if not, to try to qualify for this for $40. Otherwise, $300 buy-in. You'll have the third race tomorrow. Play it through Nirra Bets, except until post time at least. But get all the information at nirrabets.com/contests. We have a $15 bonus, 75 each or more on Saratoga and Penn National tonight. We have the middle pick 4 coming up next. 2, 4, and 7 on the pick 4s on today's card. We have a cross-country pick 5. 3 from Saratoga, 7, 8, 9 here, and 7 and 8 at Monmouth Park. We'll also be showing Bookham Dano's race in the 5th race there as well. And of course, last but not least, Saratoga Live, 1 to 6:30 today at FS2. Jonathan, thank you so much. Thanks again. And thanks in advance to my main man, Frank Miramati, who's just getting set up for another big day at Saratoga. He'll be up next with a reprise of Scratch and Changes. Enjoy this giveaway. Should I walk off the set with this?
Yeah, I think
no,
you should.
I'm leaving it here. I have an in here. I might be able to get one for myself.
You got a good chance.
I have a chance. Enjoy the day. Have a great one.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.